Hi everyone, this is Ron Martinez, GFB chair, and I'm here to talk about the next slides, which is entity dashboards for exchange performance. So in the previous slide, we talked about the sustainability levels. One part of it is the process sustainability, but for this one is only on exchange performance. The main difference is that the exchange performance is going to focus more on a monthly results rather than the 12 months results in the sustainability levels. So composition of the dashboard. So this is the entire composition, but I'm going to focus on exchange performance, which is IGV, OGT, OGV, IGT, OGT, IGE, OGE, total products, part 1 and part 2. So for this one, majority of this, uh, I'm just going to talk about just one product to already cover 7 tabs of this one, because it's basically going to be the same formula as all throughout, and then just one specific slide just for part 2. Yeah. So scope and calculation. So what is, you will notice these numbers. So monthly versus cumulative. So monthly data shows the results of an account of only one specific month. So meaning if it says monthly data of August 2019, so meaning it's only the data of August. If it's monthly data of February 2020, it's monthly data of February 2020. But cumulative is basically shows the increasing or decreasing or fluctuating results of an account by successive calculations up until the corresponding month. So meaning if you say cumulative data of 1920 in February 2019, in February 2020, that means the data is actually started from August 2019 until February 2019. Cumulative is also quite equivalent to year to date for some exchangers that uses the term. Yeah, but we use cumulative because this is more of a financial term. So yeah, term of data. So you can see this term of data. 1920 executed, 1920 budgeted, and 1819 executed for the financial numbers. For exchange, you will see these words basically achieved. Executed is equals to achieve, budgeted is equals to planned. Then direct profit loss is, this is the absolute surplus of monthly direct revenue and direct cost. For this one, we're going to focus mainly on direct profit loss. For the exchange performance, the indirect cost is not involved in here because indirect cost is better to be seen part of sustainability level. So I'm not going to talk about that one. So I'm just going to talk about the direct profit loss, what is directly involving the exchange itself. So exchange, financials, and operations. So direct profit loss comparisons. So you can see once you open a tab. So for this one is IGT. So I will open IGT in the dashboard here. Oh, sorry, that's OGT. So yeah, here. So this is IGT. So you will notice this table, right? So if you're going to see this table, this is the direct profit loss comparisons to show monthly progress and cumulative results of the product between 1920 budgeted, and 1818 executed. Yeah, so you can already see what would be the available, you can already see what are the results, monthly and cumulative. So for example, in the 1920 executed, if by September, that actually the total is from August until September for cumulative. If you can see, how is the cumulative added? So it's basically this one, the first month, plus this on the monthly of September. Now, if you're going to look at 1819, let's say 1819 for November, so it would be the last cumulative the cumulative data of last month plus the monthly of this month. So if you're going to see like 23 plus 4 equals to 27. So direct profit loss comparisons. So there's going to be two types of comparisons, the monthly and the cumulative. So which are visual comparisons of monthly direct profit loss results on between 1920 executed versus 1920 budgeted versus 1818 executed. So you can see how the comparison is going to work as what is actually happening this term, what is planned to happen this term, and what happened last term. And for cumulative, a similar application, but this one would show how much profit loss are being accumulated every month and how the process is gonna work. Yeah. So these graphs are to be used to know if the entity is doing better or worse than last term, and to know if the entity is reaching their targets or not. Since this only shows the results already, the final results. So if you're going to look on this graph, so it would look like, so you can see if the blue line, which is 1920 executed, is bigger than the budgeted, or if it's bigger than the green one. So you can really see how the progress here. Now let's take this one on an example. It shows here that the budgeted profit loss from is actually quite big, of around 100,000. Meanwhile, 1819 executed actually had a higher profit loss of what happened to compared to last year's budgeted, so meaning we budgeted lower than the last term. Meanwhile, for 1920 executed, it's still an ongoing progress. So the question would now be if the 1920 executed is gonna keep up to whatever the results of 1920 budgeted or 1819 executed. So exchange performance comparisons. So this one is basically only on approvals and realize. So similar application on how the calculation is gonna work. So the only reason why we chose approvals and realization to ask the financiers is because majority of the pricing, revenue, and cost points that we involve in exchange performance are involved with approvals and realizations. There are few entities where they receive revenues from opens or from accepted or from or from applications only, and then some main majority of the cost actually some happens on finish, but those type of specifics is mainly to coordinate with the exchangers, and majority of the items that actually happens on revenue and cost actually happens on approvals and realizations. So this is how the comparison is going to work. Similar idea on how to do the comparison. This one is just split between approvals and realizations. There's no cumulative here because the way we usually view the exchange performance is always per peaks, right? So you can already see on this type, in this type of scenario, you can compare them per peaks. So financials versus exchange performance monthly comparison. This is where if you combine the data on a financial scale and exchange scale. So this table is the section shows monthly progress of financial performance and exchange performance to easily align to compare one with one another. This table says sections is gonna repeat it in 3 times. So 1920, 1920 budgeted, and 1819 budgeted. As you can see, if you're going to scroll in this part, so first part is 1920 executed. Second part is 1920 budgeted. Third part is 1819 executed. So this is going to always repeat on the same pattern. So the first 3 rows shows the calculation of monthly direct profit loss. So basically just exchange revenue minus cost equals the profit loss. And then cumulative, same pattern as the one mentioned before. So this graph is where you can compare. First graph is financials versus operational. So you can see that the bar graphs are only revenues and costs, while the line graphs is mainly approvals and realize. So you can see how the relationship is gonna work. You can ask yourself what could be the relationship between the revenues and costs with approvals and realizations. Do I get more revenue if I have more approvals? Do I get more costs if I get more realizations? And which month and which type? So those are the things that you can ask yourself in this one. Meanwhile, IGT monthly versus cumulative profit loss comparison is only based on profit loss, but you can check it on a cumulative and monthly state just on a specific data. So if it's 1819, then the other one is on 1920 or 1920 budgeted. Yeah. So as mentioned before, so these are applied on 1920 executed, budgeted, and 1819 executed. So I don't have to repeat this again. So all these content that I just mentioned applied to each products and total products until total products part 1. Now, what is part 2 of total products? So this is basically direct revenue, direct costs, approvals, and realizations. So this is simply the contribution basically. So how much is being contributed per product per month of each type of data of 1920 executed, 1920 budgeted, and 1819 executed. Then the graphs is the corresponding graphs based on this table. So this type of pattern from direct revenue and direct revenue contribution graph is going to repeat for direct costs as well, approvals, and realizations. So you can use these graphs and tables to see if, just focusing on the total part of the products, which product is contributing the most. You can see, for example, for this direct revenue contribution, the bigger ones is actually from this yellow IGT and red OGV. So they are the bigger contribution in terms of direct revenue. But in terms of direct cost, you can see that um, similarly for this entity, the 1920 budgeted, the bigger contribution is based on OGV. Next is on OGE, so there's bigger contribution on that. But on 1819, IGT has the bigger cost. So it's those kind of questions that you can ask. And then same goes for approvals. You can see majority of the approvals being budgeted and executed is actually from OGV. Yeah, and then realization, similar case as well, but on different peaks. So you can see how the difference is gonna work. So yeah, that's pretty much it on the exchange performance part. So in the next slide, we're going to talk about the financial statement summary. So it's mainly the profit losses and balance sheet summary. So yeah, again, thank you so much for listening, and see you on the next slide.